I just kind of wanted to talk about my experience a little bit throughout my sales journey, and then just some successes and some failures that I've had along the way that have helped me learn a ton about pest control and how to sell at a high level. So, just some like reference. This was taken my first summer. It was like September 8th, and I was already missing school. But I was stoked because I had a really good summer, my first summer, and worked hard. And yeah, anyway, I kind of realized that there's some strategies that the level up guys were doing and big players were doing along the way, and I wanted to learn from them, and I wanted to get better. So anyway, yeah, a couple things I did along the way. I just kind of unravel those successes, and then, like I said, show you guys some of the. Oh, Chris is here too. Chris, did you get in? Chris is in. Okay, Chris is in. Um, can you guys still see my screen, or did it go off? Here we are again. Someone hook me up. Tell me.
Yeah, we can see it, Cam.
Okay, thank you. Sweet. So, my first summer, I went out, worked hard, and I ended up doing around 240 grand in revenue. And I had some really sweet days and some really hard days, and I learned a lot. And my only goal my second summer was to reach 300K in revenue. We were shifting more towards, like, instead of accounts, we were shifting more towards revenue. And I thought that was cool because that's what actually makes sense, and like that's the production that you're doing. So this was our little team, our second summer, and what's cool is we had about 15 people on this team, and we hit 3 mil in revenue, which means our per rep averages were absolutely insane. And I mean, Gabe did crazy numbers. And Diggy wasn't in this picture. Matt and Meg and Jess, Jalen, Corwin. I mean, all these guys. We did some really cool numbers, and I think a big part of it was just like the culture that we created on the team was just success, and it was always just hard work. So anyway, a couple things that helped me reach this number, 300K. First off, is it wasn't like hoping that I would hit it. I was planning on staying out until I hit 300K in revenue, and I did it. I think I hit it maybe like August 20th. So I mean, I was right there at the end of the summer, still grinding for it. But I would say going into the summer, it's important that you have that number in mind, and that's the only thing that you're focusing on this summer is reaching your goals. Sometimes it gets distorted based on your first month or your second month, and typically the third and fourth and fifth month that you're out there are when the biggest things end up happening. So at our company, I think someone's hit 450 or 480 in revenue, and I think we're still thinking small and we can do big things this year and the years to come. But if you want to go make big money and make $100,000+ in the summer, then you need to think just like when you're setting the expectation for a customer about rate card, you also need to think that 300K is like a baseline number, and this is small, and that you're planning on crushing it as soon, as soon as you can. So I just wrote everything we do or you do aligns with achieving and exceeding that number. So there's a bunch of sacrifices that you'll probably have to make, that you will have to make along the way. But our focus of the summer, your focus should be exclusively on the outcome and not so much on like the nitty gritty. Typically, the people are just, they get caught up in the bad day or the slow day, or, today's hard because it was hot hood. And if you're just thinking about the small day to day, then it gets too easy to like start thinking negatively, and it'll impact your overall thought process on, on the goals you have this summer. So, yeah, average isn't a part of the conversation, and your focus should totally be on outcomes and your goals and like what you plan to do by the end of the week or by the end of the month or by the end of the summer. My best day, my first summer, I sold 16 accounts, and I kind of hit on it earlier. I did a lot of trend selling, But I realized that there's guys going to do bigger and better things than me. And, if we all have those high expectations, it's like Parker says, high tide raises all ships and raises all boats, whatever he says. But I think it's just an important value to note is if the team has a high standard, then everyone else will also. So I'll probably ask for some participation on this slide just because I think it's so important. Um, I know weather is something that impacts our thought process and not only like our mental, but also our physical. I'd love to know what do you, before we jump into the slide, like what are some things you guys do that allow you to sell in whatever type of weather? Like what are some strategies that you have that help you overcome some like the weather, problems that we run into?
I personally just I guess like when it's hot, I just try to think positive. Like, when it's hot, what's positive about being hot? So that would be like people are typically like, happier. Um, there's more bugs or whatever. Just like I just try to see positive things
Yep.
in every situation, and that typically um allows me to find people that are ready to buy.
100%. I definitely love that. Anyone else?
Whenever it's super hot outside, I like to ask the homeowner for water. I I think that's like, I don't know. It like kind of helps with that. Kind of like I think they like me more if I ask for water. I don't really know why. It's just
Yeah. That's smart. You got to be asking for water. That's definitely a need, especially in the hot weather. So cool. Well, thank you guys for sharing. If anyone has anything else, just chime right in. Anyway, a couple ideas and tips that I have that have helped me tremendously. Sorry, I'm struggling with this thing right here. So, I have been in the rainiest of rains and the coldest of rains in summers, and I've also been in the hottest of hots and the most heat I've ever experienced before. Um, Weather will impact your mental and your physical, but you decide whether it impacts your sales and your production for the day. And so there are things that you can do as a sales rep to overcome and become the type of sales rep and do the kind of production you want to do. And so these last 2 years, I just kind of suffered through it. Like even in my biggest summer, I just kind of suffered through it. I just never, if the team went home, I just never went home. I just stayed out there and got soaked completely to the core. Throughout time, I've realized there's a couple things that you can do that make it way more enjoyable. And so I wanted to share those. So just starting off with like the impact, it will tank your sales if you let it. The heat will kill you mentally and physically if you let it, and it'll actually affect your performance and your endurance during the day. And that will kill your production. So I'm not here to say that the heat and the rain is just like, it's non-existent and it won't do anything to you. It will. And so there's a couple steps that you definitely need to take in order to, see success through those hard days. First off is making sure you're prepared, like with the gear that you bring out for the summer. So I said I started taking this a little more seriously the last 2 summers. Every summer now, I bring out a ski coat. I bring out my ski gloves, my snowboarding mitts. I bring out hand warmers, warm pants, and fleece socks. The reason for this is because on those cold, wet, rainy days, if you can be completely dry and totally warm, usually the only thing getting wet is your hat and your face, and that's totally manageable. And maybe your shoes. But if you have the right gear, knocking in the soaking wet rain will never be a problem this summer. At least in Tulsa, we had a pretty wet and rainy season, which was so unexpected. But Um, it probably rained from April 1st until probably like maybe like end of May. So like 2 full months of rain, and then a couple, once or twice a week in June. So we were seeing rain like a couple times a week, and then early on, I was seeing it every single day. This was my first day on the doors. It was brutal. It was very cold, and I was glad I was super prepared. And so, my first day out there, it was dumping rain. I sold 4 accounts, and like in the end, I was having fun, and I knew that this was part of the process. But anyway, my point is making sure that you come prepared to the summer with the right gear will actually help you improve. It'll actually make your summer better. So if you don't have a ski coat that you're bringing out for the summer, I would say you're doing yourself a disservice, because the point jackets that we give out they're good windbreakers, and they're okay for like small rain. But you've all worked a summer, and you know that once they're wet, it's cold and wet. Does anyone else have an experience with that? I know the savages do. Do you guys have any experiences knocking in the rain where it was like brutal? Most
I
people do.
I think it was like my first week. I thought the windbreaker would help, but man, just immediately after getting soaked, you're cold. You're super cold.
Yeah, it's brutal. We've recommended like ponchos and stuff in the past. Those are also okay, but if it's heavy winds, I mean, the rain will get through the poncho really easily. So, if you don't already have a good ski coat that's waterproof, like invest in one. I really don't think of this as like you spending or wasting money on a nice ski coat. It is truly going to help you 2 or 3 or 4x your production. And so I look at it as like an investment from that side of things. And there's a couple other things that I'll touch on tonight that I think are necessary investments to actually make in yourself before you go out this summer. So I'll challenge you guys to get some of that stuff. The last thing is mind and body. Like I said earlier, this kind of weather is going to affect you dramatically, and if you're not hydrated or you're not eating, you won't have enough energy throughout the day to like be sharp. I personally don't eat a whole ton during the day. It's just never been my thing. Is I usually am more of a lunch and dinner guy, but for most people, that's not the case. Like they need a solid breakfast. They need to have protein bars or sandwiches out on the doors, and make sure you're taking care of yourself and like prepping the day before. Like going to McDonald's every day isn't sustainable if you want to hit big numbers. Like you won't hit big numbers if you're taking breaks like that every day, hitting fast food, and you probably just won't feel the best. So that's my last tip on weather. Any questions on that? That makes, pretty clear sense, right? Now I'd love to know, after hearing about the ski coat, who's going to commit to a ski coat this summer, like actual ski coat. Grant, raise that hand, bro. I can't hear you, bro.
I'll definitely get a ski coat, Cam.
Thank you. Let's go, dude. Steve in the chat. Steve, you getting a ski coat this summer? He's here.
I don't know about the ski coat, but the windbreaker maybe.
I think Steve just joined. You guys can catch him up. Andrew, you got him, right?
Yeah, I'll go to Costco and I'll get a 2-for-1 for us.
Thanks, bro. Yeah, Steve, watch back the video and you'll see. We just chatted about that for like 20 minutes, so you're all good. Cool. Moving on. What the freak is going on? Hold on. Having some difficulties. There we go. We're moving on. Okay. Your mentality and what you think is what will end up happening. So if you are 100% sure that there's no way this summer you're going to sell $300,000 in revenue, then I am 100% sure that you will not sell $300,000 in revenue. The reason for this is how you think and what you think is what is going to happen. Like truly, the biggest the biggest dreamers and the biggest visionaries are the ones who make the biggest income, and they're also the ones that have the best lives, is because they have these big goals for themselves and they want to manifest it, and then they go and make it happen. So I'd love to read off some of these points and just chat about them real quick. Who's going to help me out with the first bullet point?
All right. 300K, nothing. Hyperfixation on this goal ensures that lower figures are simply not an option.
Fire. This is important. This is super important. I think that if you're not thinking big numbers or big goals, then you will simply just have another 100K summer or 80K summer. You'll hit the cruise, you'll be stoked, and it's just, big things aren't going to happen. So make sure you're hyper fixated on the idea of going into this summer with your 300K rep at least. And like I said, 300K plus. I don't think there's no limits to what can happen this summer, but if you're thinking small things will happen. The next thing that is important for me and will be for a lot of you guys is the non-negotiables. So your morning routine, whatever this is, like, protect it and make sure you do it every single day. For me, that just means getting my mind right. There's not specifically a structured morning routine that I need to hit. But typically I like to have a couple things that get my mind right before the summer or before the day starts. So getting right spiritually, praying, reading my scriptures. Another thing is like just chatting with my family. And then the third thing is like making sure I'm prepared for my meetings with our reps. So if you're a leader, making sure you're actually prepared, not just showing up and winging the conversation or the correlation that you're planning on running. Those are three things that I would usually do before my day. And that got me in the right headspace to go out and sell big and help my teams for the day. For those who have sold, which is everyone here, what does your morning look like, or how would you like to improve your morning routine or some of your non-negotiables this summer?
Uh, my morning routine is we would wake up, then we would immediately go to the gym. Then after we go to the gym for an hour, what I would do normally is I would go back to my room and then meditate for about 20 minutes, then come out and get breakfast, and then go to morning meeting, and then go to area.
Cool. Yeah, you got that dialed in, bro. Good job. Love that. Let's hear from a couple other guys. Like Chris,
Yeah.
what did you do every morning?
Yeah, I woke up, went straight to the gym as soon as possible. Um and then, after like an hour, pretty tired already.
Yeah.
So go home, take a really cold shower, um grab something to eat on the way out, and then go to meeting.
Okay. I love that. A big part of you succeeding is viewing yourself in the position of whatever you're manifesting for the day. So if you're like, today's just going to be a one type day, we're in X city, so it's going to be a one day, then most likely you're just going to sell one that day, and it won't, it's not going to be productive. So make sure that every morning you're winning your day and you feel like that morning was a win. Um, Even if it wasn't like the most productive morning, like there needs to be some sort of W that you can put in your mind before you start your day. There might be days when you wake up late and you're rushing to the office, but like I said, there needs to be a W, whether that's singing a hype up song or hitting a couple push-ups or whatever it is, that needs to happen every day. I put the have fun part in here because I think too many people take this job too seriously. And if you know me or you've sold with me, usually I like to make things fun, like on the doors. It's not like depressing where I'm just kind of moping around and trying to sell someone. Like for the most part, I'm having fun. I'm talking to people. I'm making the best out of every interaction. Those kind of people that enjoy and bring positivity to the office and to the doors, you'll see more success. Gabe and Parker always talk about how people buy from people they like and trust. And I'm confident that if you're someone that is attracting people, then more people will want to buy from you. I guess everyone's biggest day, there's usually a factor of people just vibing with you and feeling like your energy, and the momentum just carries over from one sale to the next, and that's because you're radiating this confidence and this positivity that people love. So if you can start your day with that and then end your day with that, people will naturally want to be your friend and purchase more of your service. So that's my tip, is make sure you're having fun with this job. Don't make this job something so boring and routine. Like this won't be sustainable if you plan on doing this for, a year or two or three more. You will dread going out to the summer, and it will be something where you just every year you're just like, man, I hate this. For me, I get super excited about the summer. It like almost makes me feel like I want to get out there as soon as possible, just because it's become something that's enjoyable for me, and it's way fun to get paid for the value that you're worth. Like there's not any other job that I know where you can potentially make six figures in a summer, and everyone in this room is more than capable of making that happen in the next couple months during the summer. The next one is guard your time. So for those that are managers in this chat, we have, Steve and Andrew and Gabe, and then of course the guys watching, like the Blick brothers and Diggy. You guys will all be managing or co-managing a team this summer, and the rest are team leads, and you all play a really, really important part in the overall success of the team. But you cannot let reps waste your time. And so we talked about this on the last leadership training just a tiny bit. And for those that weren't there, to like summarize it, there's going to be reps that just want to chat and want to waste your time. And it's important that you set boundaries with yourself and with them, but that you're also willing to take their calls. I mean, this isn't like a situation where you just block all their calls. But typically with reps, I will ask them questions, and there's like a chain of command. So usually they'll talk to their team lead first. Well, actually, first thing is like text it in Slack. You have like 20 other people in Slack that could probably answer the same question that they're trying to ask you. So if they can't answer it with Slack, then they should talk to their team lead by text. If they can't reach him, then call him. If they can't reach him, text your manager by text and then call him. So those are some expectations that you guys as leaders need to set, or else you will get reps that are just calling you nonstop, and it will affect your deals. I think it was 2023, we had a massive team. I think we started the summer with over 40 reps. And for me, that took a ton of time, especially for the first month or two. It took so much time to manage that team. And eventually I had to set some boundaries to where we were calling our team leads and slacking things out. And so make sure you're protecting your time, because that is what's going to help you produce your own income. And my guess is like 70 to 80% of your income this summer is tied to personal production. The other 20% might be you helping your team and making an override or whatever it is. But focus on your personal production. Parker always says this, but like lead the way and people will follow. It's really hard to be the kind of leader that just pushes from the back and like yells at people from the back. That's not motivating. And most people don't want to follow a guy who's just like screaming from the back. So, Grant, I'd love to ask you this. How many times this summer were Diggy and I the first sale of the day?
Most of the time. Like I think it was either Diggy or you about like 70-80% of the time, I think.
100%. I know there's a couple times you'd show up and your first store of the day was a sale, which was cool. But what I mean by this, and the reason I ask that, is because you as the leader, when you're setting the expectation and throwing yourself in the doors first thing of the day, it gets people's wheels going. There's nothing better than when you have a sale and your reps are still at the gas station. Like that is just, for me, I'd be like, holy cow, this dude's already winning and I'm just getting a smoothie at a gas station. Like, dang, I need to get my butt in gear. So make sure you're protecting your time, delegate tasks to your team leads. You guys are there as team leads to help. And so your manager will probably delegate some tasks that are important so that they can work, equally as much as you. On to the next. My favorite. So the switchover game is something that we lack as a company, and it's something that a lot of reps are scared of. Vets also. If it's a set like a super heavy switchover neighborhood, I know vets in previous years that have just like bailed on the neighborhood, and they're like, this neighborhood's too hard. There's too many cookie cutter homes or whatever it is. As a leader, you need to be competent and capable of switching people over. Like, that's just a fact. If you aren't able to make it happen, then your reps won't either. And so, if I were to ask any one of you guys right now to run a full switchover pitch and you said no, I would be a little bit worried. And so if you don't have your pitch dialed in right now, then like jump on it. At this point in the summer, or preseason, you should be locked and loaded and just be ready to help other reps. And that's kind of your purpose as a leader, is to already be locked and loaded so that you can just focus on helping other people. So that's my tip to you, is if you want to train with me, or if you want to train with the managers, or whoever it is, like, let's dial in right now and lock in as March rolls around, so that we have that whole time to really get our mind right. My first day, I had 2 switchovers and 2 DIY sales, and that was on not my first summer, but like this last summer in Tulsa. And it's because like day one, I was locked in going through 3 to 5 objections per door. And there's nothing better than like starting your summer off hot. It's like not a good feeling when you're like, man, what's going on? I'm like rolling to the start. Why is this happening? And it's probably because you didn't train enough in the off season. You're a little rusty. So the reason I say switchover is one of the most important pieces of growth for 300K is because the summer I earned 300K in revenue is the summer I had my most switchovers. I sold 2 switchovers my first summer, and I realized that I suck at switchovers and I needed to do something better. And so I talked to Parker a bunch, and I trained with Parker a bunch. And at the time, my manager, he helped me a little bit too. So that's what helped me. I did 100x what I did my first summer in switchovers to my second summer. And it's purely because I practiced and took time to really dissect the switchover pitch and just like feel more confident before the summer started. Retention. We, as a company, we didn't have like the best retention as far as like accounts go. And I mean, we did and we didn't. And the people that didn't, it was mainly due to them selling in low income areas that were people who weren't like totally qualified for pest control. So here's some numbers. I actually wrote them down on my phone so I could go through go through them with you. So if you sell a 3 950 CVs a day. So if you sell a $950 CV 3 times a day, which is totally doable. There's bundles that we missed out on last year a bunch, in Missouri. They dominated with bundles, and they showed the way. It's not hard. You will most likely, from what we've seen at that CV, you'll have a 90 to 95% retention rate, meaning only 5 to 10% of your accounts will cancel naturally due to whatever causes there are with retention. So the total rev on that number, selling 3 accounts a day, not 10, not 6, 3, would be 313 grand in revenue after 110 knocking days, which is, that's a couple months. That's not 6 months. That's a couple months. So 313 grand in revenue if you do 3 accounts a day at 950. Double check me on that math too, but that's 110 knocking days. Now, if you were to do 5 accounts a day at a 550 CV, which means they didn't have a bundle, it might be a low quality account that, they said, yeah, like they gave you a couple objections maybe, or maybe it was even easier because they had cockroaches everywhere and it was just like grimy and kind of gross. You did 5 accounts a day at a 550 CV, that would be total revenue 302 grand. So you still hit your 300K mark, but now you had a 70 to 85% retention rate. The reason that variance is so high is because, there's some summers where people sell low income and their retention is way better than others. It depends on the rep. It depends on the expectations they're setting. But generally speaking, like, you get the idea, 70 to 85% is what you'd expect. So like 15 to 30% attrition, which is awful, terrible. So the goal for this summer, and this is something I optimized while I was in Maryland and Delaware, is we hit high class neighborhoods, huge homes, really wealthy people. I mean, there are cities all over Baltimore that have some of the highest and wealthiest incomes across the nation. And then in Delaware, I mean, you have your good mix. You have the country homes, which are a little bit lower income, and then you have the nicer cities on the water that are high income. So, um, once again, this is an average, but if you can average a 950 CV, you will typically have a better attrition rate, and you will see that February will just be a better check in general. Sadly, we had rookies that made more than some of our vets in their February checks simply because those rookies just knocked a better demographic and they sold less accounts, but they had more retention. So that is something that you need to optimize this summer and really prioritize is your quality of accounts that you plan on selling, because it doesn't matter how much revenue you sell if you take home nothing, truly. If you sell 300K and you take home, 40 grand, that's a net loss. That's like a lose on the summer, in my opinion. Like, you should be taking home 100 plus K, if not way more. The next thing that I want to hit on is making sure you're talking to vets that are experienced and getting insights from them. Like, Diggy and we bounced ideas off each other all the time. I mean, he was calling me twice a day, Cam, tailor it this way, or I'd call him, hey, try and tailor your switch over pitch this way because of this. Make sure you're sharing information with the other vets on the team, because they have experience and it can only benefit you for the more information that you're gathering. This is valuable, super valuable. It'll help you sell better if you have two minds collaborating on the same subject rather than just one. And then a couple more ideas for optimizing switchovers is just area notions. This has become like worse and worse every year. And just to address it to you guys as our leaders, is it comes from the top down. So if you're saying you can't sell high income and you can't sell switchovers, you can't do DIY, your reps won't believe in you, first off. And second off, they won't believe in themselves. And then that's where your team culture gets crushed, is when you as a leader you're not believing and you don't have faith in your own abilities. So those notions come from within. They come within the car group, and prioritize making sure that if you are nervous about selling switchovers or a DIY, or you're nervous about something, whatever it is, then work on it. Work on it with me, and let's practice and let's get better as a group, so that you're actually winning and you feel confident during the summer. So that's like a couple of my tips on optimizing switchovers in general, is like prioritize them before the summer so that you feel confident during summer and you're actually selling them. Yeah, I mean, that kind of hits on the last one too. Cool. We're getting close to wrapping up. So thank you guys for hanging in there with me. So, yeah, let's read this one off and let's just bounce some ideas. I want to hear what you guys think about this slide. Can someone read some of these?
Um, for days when motivation is low, because these days are pivotal for growth.
Fire. I love that. When you're not feeling it, when your legs like hurt and you feel that like tired laziness feeling, it's so important that you go all in even on those days, because those add up. Those will. If you just have 110 knocking days, I'm going to pull out some math on you guys again. I'm not even a math guy, but I'm pulling out some math. if you have 110 knocking days and you decide to go home, let's just say at 8 o'clock instead of 8:30 or 9 because you just felt a little lazy or a little like tired or a little, I don't want to, I just could sit in my car kind of vibe today. 110 knocking days times 950 CV is an extra 100 grand in revenue. So just in picture that is like, for most of you guys, I mean, if not all of you guys, that is massive income for most, even for me, like an extra 50, 60 grand in income is massive. And if you let that low motivation kill you on some of those days, it will add up. And actually, it won't add up. That's what I'm trying to say, is it won't add up. Very important that even on your off days when you're not feeling it, that you're still pushing yourself to do the hard thing, and like going all in on your goals. Now, like I said, this is pertaining to 300K plus in revenue. The reason I say this is because there's sacrifices that you actually have to make in order to do this. It's not going to come to just anyone that decides to go out and sell pest control and like do whatever. Like there needs to be systems in place. So that's one of them, is when your motivation's low and you're not feeling it, go all in on those days. Go extra on those days. Let's get a new reader for the second one.
I can read it. Discipline developed during tough times strengthens your resolve.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, that kind of touches on the first one. But more so, I think that the skills that you're learning in door-to-door sales will develop you as a person more than anything that you will learn right now in your life. I mean, I'm sure there's other seminars you can attend or there's XYZ, but I don't think there's many things that will develop you to do something as hard as this, other than, in my opinion, a mission, as door-to-door sales. And so you're literally doing something so hard and training your brain to act a certain way. This will impact your life choices. This will impact, your future, your relationships. There's a lot of different aspects of life. So how you do one thing is how you do everything. Make sure that you go all in with this summer, and make sure you go all in with other aspects of your life. Like don't give half effort on something that you could have done to the best of your abilities. I'll read the next three. Challenges encountered serve to create differentiation from competition. So during the summer, expect competition and expect hot hood and expect hard things to happen. How you deal with those hard things. First off, people look at you. People are watching you as a leader and a vet. People will, like the reps around you will say, "Oh, Cam's taking it easy today because it's raining, so I'm gonna take it easy." Or there's 3 reps in Diggy's area, so if he's taking it easy, he's just selling one and kind of like hanging out or just kind of strolling around. He's not locked in. Then I'm cool with just one too. Those challenges that you encounter, that you have the ability to resolve them, and honestly, in the end, is like how you encompass your stress is how other people will as well. So be a leader in tough times. Like I remember a ton of times with most of you guys in different summers where extremely stressful situations where reps were struggling, or there might have been some bad vibes on the team, or even like outward tons of other companies knocking our areas, no permits, hot hood, rainy days. I mean, there's tons of stuff that comes up. I've had like personal stuff come up. I've had Lyme disease. We've all been through the tornado in Arkansas. Like there's going to be challenges that come your way every summer, and how you deal with those challenges will predict you making the 300K revenue or not. Like I promise you, that will be the factor, is how you deal with those problems. Embrace obstacles for personal and professional elevation. Just kind of touched on that. And build resilience through these hardships. Like you're all in a brotherhood. It's important that you lift each other up and you're supporting each other. Quick story. So in 2022, I got a tick bite, and I ended up getting Lyme disease that summer, which sucked. But my doctor told me I couldn't go outside because of the medication I had to take after the tick bite. Like it had gotten to the point where it was like pretty bad, like got infected, and they were concerned that the Lyme disease was a little bit too late for medication. They told me I couldn't go outside, and I told them that was a problem because I work outside all day, and that's what I'm here for, like on the East Coast. And so I had a couple options there, and I even called Parker, told him some of my options, but like the option that doctor wanted was for me to like stay at home and see if I could just call, like phone call sales or something. And Parker just, he's like, I'll leave it up to you, bro. Like, decide what you want. But it was going to be at least like 12 to 15 days before I could go in the direct sun. And the effects of it were, it would actually burn my skin if I went outside. It was actually really painful. So I needed a solution because I'm not going to sit inside for 12 to 15 days. So I bought a beekeeper suit, and I went outside and knocked doors in a beekeeper suit. And I'll have to send you guys a video or a picture of it. I think Gabe was probably the only one that was on that team in 2022. And even then, I I don't know if I showed the team the beekeeper suit because I was a little embarrassed. But let's just say it did affect my production a little bit because people got nervous. It's just kind of scary when a guy in a beekeeper suit shows up at your front door. It's like the purge almost. But in the end, that was my solution to the problem that I was facing. And relating that back to sales is like, you guys will all encounter problems and hardships this summer, and it's on you to figure them out and make it happen. So that's just a little story, little side story through the the hardships that you have. That's just one thing that's going to come up is hopefully not Lyme disease, but like there's going to be hardships, and it's on you to deal with them and become the best version of yourself. This is our team in 2023 or 2023 team, right? Andrew was there. Steve was there. Sam, G Money, X-Ray, T-Bone, Shay, and our fairy.
That's right.
Gabe, where were you?
I don't know.
You were
Good
here
question.
what the freak?
He was fired, remember?
I was fired. Devin is there too. Devin and Sam.
I don't know where you were. Anyway, this is super successful team. A lot of these guys were top, like we had a ton of top 10 rookies and vets on this team. I mean, Gabe, Steve, Andrew, Devin, Sam was so freaking close. Shay was like number 10 or number 11. Emily was top 3. Tyson was top 10. I was top 10. Like we all killed it this summer. Adam was top 10. And I think a big part of it was excitement and strategy. Like strategy was huge. And training. We trained like dogs in the office every day. For the first week or two, I had guys showing up at 9 a.m. to train until 11 or 12. And I mean, a lot of the vets were like, dude, we're not showing up at 9 every day. And I was like, we're showing up at 9 every day. And so sometimes strategy is going to help you perform better, not just leveling up your, taking less breaks or, the other things like, wearing a nicer jacket. Sometimes actually strategy will maximize your performance. So the first strategy tip that I have for you guys, and make sure you're writing this down or taking a mental note because this will help you. First off, is this applies more to Palisade than Frontline markets, just because of how Palisade structures it and Frontline structures it. This is the momentum strategy. You want to knock. This is just what I do. You don't have to do this, but knock a certain part of your area until you get a sale. So if you're knocking 2 streets and you get a sale, stop knocking altogether and move to at least a couple streets over, or I usually move I call it 2 streets or 3 streets over in my area. I still stay in my area. And then when that technician comes to service the house, then go back at that time or talk to the tech, text the tech, and make sure you're knocking both sides of the house and in front of the house at the exact time that the tech is there. This strategy alone, at least in the Palisade markets, gets me at least one sale a day, which, I wasn't selling 950s this last summer, but in Tulsa, we did have I had a 780 CV this summer, which isn't bad. Okay. Isn't terrible. But, I promise you this strategy works. If you're not implementing this strategy, you're missing out on at least like 50 to 100K in revenue a summer if you're implementing the higher CV bundle that we talked about. Why do you think that is? Like, why would I do this? Do you guys even think this is legit? Or I love some feedback on this first strategy.
Kind of like the strategy because people can kind of see what they're getting and it's more real to them when you're talking about it, and so they kind of understand what you're selling a lot better.
Yes, exactly. Andrew, you sold in Andrew and Steve, you both sold in Palisade. Gabe sold in Palisade. Like, what's the benefit of knocking with the truck? Or like, have you even seen sales come from that?
Yeah, it gives you a lot of credibility. Sometimes not even like when the truck is servicing, when the truck is like literally just driving by. Like people will see it and then like they'll be like, "Oh my gosh, he's like actually telling the truth."
Yeah,
Um, so it sets you up for a lot more success.
beautiful. That is exactly, I 100% agree with you. This strategy works. If you do it, you will make extra money. Promising you that. You will make extra money. So, the strategy once again, knock. And if you're learning and you're working and you're hustling and training before the summer, you will sell one before prime time and one after prime time. We expect our vet reps to be selling minimum of 2 a day, which means you got to have 2 somehow. For me, it's got to be one before, one after. Everything else, my 5 days, my 10 days, they all come from sales in between then. But this is your one before 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock. So I'll knock 1 or 2 streets, get my first sale, immediately stopping, and I'm strategically organizing when I'm coming back. So that means I'm texting the tech, "Hey bro, can you hit me up when you're on your way, or can you let me know when you're coming by?" One of our techs he shared his location with us, so we got to see when he was rolling through the neighborhood. If they're chill with that, and they're a summer tech, then let them do that. If you're in a frontline market, this might not be the best strategy because once again, I know they have a different type of window than Palisade. And so there's other strategies that you can do to make sure that customer sees our technician. Showing reviews is really valid, or even name dropping neighbors previously that aren't customers, which I will get to in a second. So anyway, commit to this. This will make you money. Area coverage. Never leave an area early. And I know what you're thinking is, "Cam, this area sucks. Like, please move me." Um, do not move. Especially as a leader, it says a lot about you if you just neighborhood hop. It's like, "Oh, that's how Cam's, selling a ton, is he's popping from here to here and cherry picking." It doesn't look good for your reps. And number two is you just wasted a bunch of hood that probably has sales in it. Every neighborhood has a sale in it. Every single one. In Tulsa, this was actually my first summer, which was dope. My first summer that I did not bagel, which I was stoked about. Even on the days that I was traveling, I would try and come back home to Tulsa and snag a sale. Even late at night, if I flew in, I'd try and snag one or call a callback. So never leave an area early, even if you're struggling. Like, there will be a sale that you can find in there and that you can make as a vet rep. You'll find the way. You will find a way to make it happen. And then the reknocking strategy that I want everyone in this room to implement is, first off, you need to talk to your manager and make sure you're on the same page as them. If they're not cool with this, then don't do it. I had reps that would just like bounce from their area. And, as a manager, that's frustrating because you are in charge of coordinating. So make sure your manager's on the same page. But this is the strategy that I use a lot, is I reknock behind rookies. And so whether Steve or Andrew or Gabe or Jalen or Tyson, anyone who's come into the organization that worked with me, I've probably re-knocked behind you and you might not have known about it, which is totally fine and great. That's a strategy that I want all of you guys to at least try this summer. First reason is it capitalizes on sales that they leave behind. And second is they leave a lot of prospects open at a first or second objection because they just don't simply know how to get to the third. So let's just say Steve has a half day, and then Andrew's a rookie. And so Andrew finished his area yesterday or 2 days ago, and Steve says, I'm a manager. Where do I go? Do I go assign myself to a new hood or Andrew's old hood that he knocked 2 or 3 days? And reminding you, Andrew's a rookie. He knocked it 2 days ago or a day ago. If I were Steve, I would immediately go to Andrew's old hood and I would strategically knock. I would see obviously where their new customers are, and I have like a little pitch that I can teach you guys. You probably already know it, but for re-knocking, that works great. I will at least pull 1 to 2 sales out of every rookie area. And for those who know Felix, he hated my guts, and I would pull 1 to 2 sales out of his area every day. And so, like I promise you guys, this strategy works. The thing we don't want is vets bouncing to other vets areas. Like, we trust our vets to make sure they know area management well enough to where they're not leaving money on the table. The only reason, like, to like clarify, only reason I went behind Felix was he would just dip from neighborhoods and have half of it left. And so it's not fair to the team, and it's not fair to anyone for just leaving sales behind. So as a community, if you all agree on that idea, awesome. If you don't, no stress. But that is one strategy that I have implemented. And I know Diggy has, and a couple other managers and team leads that have talked to me. They've tried it out and it works. So give it a try this summer. If you're totally opposed to that, I don't care. It's fine. Just do your own thing. And then this is the last point that I'm going to hit on. And I know it's a little bit of money, but hear me out. You need to buy a second Segway. And I know this sounds like a lot. And if you're a lightweight guy and your Segway lasts all day, no problem. But if your Segway is consistently dying at 5 or 6 p.m., the summer we figured out about Segways was the summer we did the most revenue that we've seen in a lot of years. And that was in 2022. We all hopped on Segways and we were like, dude, this is great. So if you're a vet rep and you have the funds available, that $500 investment, or $400 or $300 if you could find a used one on Facebook, it will carry you so much this summer. And I promise you. So I had my Segway would usually last me till 6 or even 7 o'clock. But then I'd find that last 2 hours of knocking it just felt slow, and I was like never selling anything. In Arkansas, I'd usually sell one after dark every day, and I committed to buying a second Segway in Oklahoma, and consistently I would sell one after dark, like every single day. And it's because I now had this full juiced up Segway to go run as fast as I can. And that's what I did is I had it's full of bars and you only have 2 hours to use it. You're going to be dashing all across the map on this thing and you can run it dead. So my opinion on a second Segway is it should be used for the last 2 to 3 hours of the day. And you can just full blown sprint that thing to go to callbacks to there's no strategy you need at the end of the day to be like, well, if I have to loop around and go, like, that's what I notice a lot of people doing is they're wasting time saying, I'll have to run back to Nancy's house. So let me just check on her now. It's just a waste of time. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you guys think that is something you would even be open to doing, or do you see a benefit in that, or do you think you think that's a little stupid? You can be straight up with me.
I think you need to do that. Like, you have to.
Gabe, you got 2 Seggies, or you got a one wheel?
I got 2 1-wheels.
2 Rose got 2 1-wheels.
2 1-wheels GT.
Oh my! So dude,
$5,000.
Dude, those those don't even die in a single day though, right?
With me they do.
They do. Well, you're probably
Yeah.
moving. You're probably moving on those things. I know
Yeah.
Adam's one wheel would usually last till like 8 o'clock, and he was going pretty light on it. But if you're moving them, then yeah,
Yeah.
Gabe's got the strategy down, bro. And how do you think it helped you late at night? Like, I mean, your first one wheel probably lasted you till 7, 5, 6.
Well, I do my callbacks with my car. I typically just drive to all the doors, but
Sure.
it's just like those days where we're knocking on hilly neighborhoods.
Yep.
So my one wheel will die too. But normal days, my one wheel would just last all day. But whenever we're knocking hilly neighborhoods and my one wheel would die at like 6, then it just really sucked.
Yeah. Or
So
Saturdays. I mean, we start at 9, go till 9. That's Segway's not
yeah.
lasting.
Hmm. Yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
Andrew, Steve, any comments on that? I know Asher and Grant didn't have a Segway last summer.
I
I would
had
recommend.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I had the old like white one last summer.
Yeah.
And then I had like the black one. So the white one, like honestly, it lasted like 2 hours maybe. And if you were rolling that on gravel, like honestly, sometimes like it was so beat up, like it would last sometimes only like an hour. So like the black one was definitely necessary. I don't have two right now because I sold my white one because that thing was
Sure.
so trash.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a must for me because
Cool.
if like that way, right, you don't have to plan around, oh, Nancy's gonna be here this time and her husband's not gonna be home till 8, but I have to run over all the way to the other end of the neighborhood and my Segway's gonna die.
Yep.
And yeah, then you don't have to worry about that. And I mean, honestly, it makes both of them last longer because you're using two
Yep.
instead of one. So
Beautiful. Cool. So I beat that topic to death, but consider that, give it a shot, and for those who don't even have a Segway yet, try it out. Like Asher Grant, it's $500, so I know it's a lot of money. You guys are young in high school or recently in college, so I get it. If you need help with that and you want me to buy it or you want Point to buy it, we're happy to help you out and just let me know. But you will see a massive return on your investment with this. Simply, it's not simply because it's like fun, but like actually it's a time saver. The amount of time and energy that you're spending on walking, um, like proven throughout our industry, is it's going to make you more money from that $500. So let me know if I can help you guys with that if that's something you want to do. Cool. So I'd love to know some key takeaways. Like this was obviously a lot of info, and most of it is probably review, but a big part of this training was my perspective and my journey. Um, and I know a lot of you guys have come super close to having big summers. You've all had, most of you had 200K summers. I know Gabe's had multiple like 300K summers. Um, like what are some key takeaways that this training has gotten you, or anything that you have any insights on?
Okay. I say something, Cam.
Yeah, for sure. That's great.
Yeah, what I took away from this is that like the small things with selling matter and they add up. So doing all the small things is a lot more important than just the big. Well, the big things are important too, but doing the big things with the small things like multiplies what you're gonna do in the long run.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, these are small things that help me see money that's helped me invest and change my life, and I want to share that with you guys. So that's cool that you're taking away some small principles to help you learn. Valid. Anything else from people that have sold like multiple years? Did you guys take anything away or anything new? Because I know I've preached a lot of this stuff to you guys over the years, but some of it is new, like somewhat new tactics that I've implemented the last like 2-3 years.
I mean, yeah, it was like mostly review, but I feel like just setting your goals like way before the summer and then keeping yourself accountable to those goals. And I remember like I think it was like a couple years ago, Tanner Denning said that he had like a goal in mind where he wanted to hit this certain number, and that was like a non-negotiable for him. So I feel like you just have to like say, I'm going to do this like over and over and over. Um, I forget the term for that, but just like self prophesy or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
it's like manifesting the number.
Yeah, like manifesting. Just like manifest every door you're on, it's a new door. This person's gonna buy, just manifesting like your positivity and just manifesting that you're gonna hit those numbers.
For
So
sure. Sweet. That's awesome. I love that. Cool. So a couple of key takeaways for me. I know we just talked about this, but please uh do the things that are going to make you be more comfortable and more confident on the doors. So do not, Steve, don't trust the Point rain jacket. You're buying a ski coat. I promise you'll sell more. Andrew will explain later. Get the second segue, set your goals now. If you're not locked in, for a switchover training, like right now, if I were to call you, then some things need to change. You need to level up and like start practicing. Like invest in yourself, because the preseason right now is where you should be doing the hard things, so that season and when we're in market is like, I can just focus on helping people and win every day. So cool. Well, I appreciate you guys hopping on with me. The last like piece of advice that I have as we go into this summer is that there is nothing different from you and the guys that are doing big golden doors or whatever it is. Like, we've done tons of research. We've bought trainings. Even the Blicks have like bought these golden door trainings that we've helped them invest in, and they've given us feedback, and they're like, Cam, it's the same train. It's the same thing. But when you surround yourself with people that are doing big things, it's almost hard for you. You feel bad when you sell five when you're around other people. We had that team like cohesiveness in the Maryland Delaware market. Is if you sold five, it was a bad day, and that's like a crazy concept. But like when you're in this like high tide mentality and everyone's selling 7 or 8 or 9 accounts, or even like revenue wise, it's different. You start to like get in this different mindset where five is small. And so my tip to you guys is, all you guys that are watching this, be that core group that lifts your rookies up and lifts everyone in this group up to where five is a bad day, like seven is a bad day, and you guys are all doing big things together. It'll almost be easier if you were to all win than if only some of you were to win. It's just like, that's just kind of how it works. So that's my only tip to you. Thank you guys for jumping on with me tonight. I took a little bit longer than I expected, so thank you